Sam Wilson's first big screen role as Captain America is now in theaters. Does he fly high or does he fall from grace? Let's find out.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Once more unto the bridge, dear friends.
Again and again until we're both dead.
There's only like 12 stories. They change around little details, but they're all pretty much the same.
Deja vu. Something very familiar about it.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews, connections, and mine. Captain America Brave New World is the newest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is directed by Julius Ona, and this time around stars Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, aka Captain America. In this world, he is working side by side with newly elected President Thaddeus Ross, this time around played by Harrison Ford. And when a new political turmoil rises in the Indian Ocean after the events of the Eternals, it is up to Captain America to unravel the mystery and save the nation from deeper and bigger threats. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Captain America Brave New World, as well as certain other things. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts after this, but I'll be, or first and foremost, however, but just so you know, we'll have some spoilers later on this review. So, first things first, let's get into some spoiler-free talk on Captain America Brave New World. Is this a good Marvel movie? Is this a return to form after a series of disappointments from Marvel in recent years? Sad to say, I can't say this is a return to form of Marvel greats. Unfortunately, I have to say this is probably going to be remembered as, at best, a missed opportunity, and at worst, a fairly mid, as the kids say, this is a fairly mid movie because, you know, reading up on this, I didn't read into about this going into the movie, but after I saw it, I read up on some of the things that were going on in this, in the production of this, and it does explain quite a bit about what went wrong with this movie. Because, like a lot of Marvel of movies these days, a lot of especially Marvel movies these days, this went through a chaotic production. And this was a very long, all movies go through reshoots, but this one went through extensive reshoots, and you can kind of tell because the flow of this movie is not great, and it feels like some of the best aspects of this movie feel like they're from an entirely different movie. And what I mean by that is the action in this, it's I'd say standard Marvel action, but it's chopped to pieces, in the editing, and so it's that the classic Marvel complaint where it's like they chop the action to a point where you can't tell where anyone is half the time. That is again prevalent in this movie. However, there are some character piece scenes in this that I think are probably some of the best scenes in this movie. However, they feel like afterthoughts, and um, really the main thrust of this movie should be the conflict between Anthony Mackie's Captain America and Harrison Ford's President Thaddeus Ross, and you get some of that. But it felt like it was on fast forward. Like it was trying to be a Captain America like political thriller kind of movie in the same vein as the Winter Soldier was, and I feel like I'm sure a lot of people are going to come to us and say that's an unfair comparison to be made. This is it's entirely different situations, entirely different Captain America, but there are legitimately plot points that are lifted directly from the Winter Soldier. I feel like I'll get to those in my spoiler analysis later on, but you know when you're talking about Captain America as the face of America, and the political aspects of it, and at one point in a in a scene between Captain America and the president, you know, the president's basically freezing him out of an investigation, or it's like, no, you can't do this. Like, how can you do this to me? It's like, no, this is politics. So politics really are, they're supposed to be part of this this whole conflict, and it felt like this movie is at war with itself to an extent where it's like it's trying to, it's like it got an infusion of Winter Soldier political thriller, but then it was the main body of it is Marvel action movie, and they're butting heads with each other, and it just not working very well. This is also benefit shown by the fact that certain character scenes, it's looking back on it, it does seem really obvious that you know characters are talking to each other. They're not in the, it's very obvious that these people are not in the same room when they're recording these lines, and that's just and in those scenes when it's obvious that that's going on, it's always in like exposition, like explaining about like what, all right, what's about to happen, what are the motivations, and it's like it felt like they went back after it because they didn't adequately explain what was going on in the original cut, and now they had to rush to explain what's going on in there, and it just doesn't work, and it disrupts the flow. And I think the best thing that I could describe about this movie is like it takes the Cliff Notes version of Winter Soldier, in that this is a political thriller in the sense that there are politicians and governments in as the main center of the story, but it took those Cliff Notes and then ran the Cliff Notes at 2x speed through it. Like, you don't have a chance to breathe and take in some of these moments. Like, I think some of the best moments in this movie are character moments. There's couple scenes in particular between Captain America and the president. One scene in particular with Captain America and Dan Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, who is the new Falcon now that Sam Wilson is Captain America. And they have a great scene towards the end. And there's one also scene, it would be kind of a spoiler, so I can't reveal who this person is, but it's a great character piece there as well. And those are the best scenes in the movie. But if you count, that's 4 scenes out of a 90 close to 2-hour movie at this point, and the rest is just action and exposition. Exposition, like, all right, this is what's going on, and then we're gonna move on to the next action scene. All right, this is what's going on, and then we're gonna move on to the action scene. And it sounds like I'm being reductive just describing it, but that's just how it feels when you're in the movie. And I hate to say it, the Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson as Captain America, he's doing a good job. I think he's doing a good job as Captain America. He did a great job in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I rewatched Falcon and Winter Soldier before coming into this movie. I feel like he does not have a adequate foil to this. Like, what I mean by is he doesn't have someone really to bounce off of reliably to make this a fun kind of Marvel movie. What I mean by that is, like, if you go back to, again, going back to the Winter Soldier, when we first have Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, then he gets to interact. He gets to play off Sam Wilson. He also gets to play off with Scarlet Witch, not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow. Sorry, and they get to bounce off each other. And then in Falcon and Winter Soldier, the best scenes in the Falcon and Winter Soldier are when Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes get to play off each other, and they bicker like an old married couple, and those are the funniest parts of the movie, of the series. Those are the best parts, in my opinion. And they also have great character depth. They dive into each other's problems, together as well. It's both funny and serious. Those are the best parts of that. In this movie, he gets to interact with with Torres / Falcon for brief moments, and when he gets to play off with the president, those are great moments. But you don't, but there's not a reliable foil throughout the whole movie, and it's not built like that. And I feel like that's where this movie really falls flat in that character. That energy is kind of low. And finally, speaking of characters, this might seem like a spoiler, but all the marketing has spoiled the fact that that Red Hulk is in this movie, and the way it plays out in the movie, that would be a great twist if we didn't know Red Hulk was coming, but we do know it, and there's nothing else beyond the fact that, oh, yep, there's Red Hulk, and then they're gonna fight. Like, there's nothing else to this movie beyond that. So if you've seen the marketing, you've, I hate to say it, you've really seen the best parts of the movie. And I'm not going to say, at this point, I'm going to say all the people who were like trash, like, oh, this is the absolute worst Marvel movie ever made. Like, I submit they're doing that for the clicks, and I'm not going to be one of those people. I think this is not the worst that Marvel's ever done, but um, when you talk about, I was saw the cinema score. This is probably like the lowest cinema score that a Marvel movie has seen, and you're in the territory of like Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World. The forgettable entries in a superhero franchise. Like, for every Iron, you got Iron Man, and you got Iron Man, then you had Iron Man 2, and then Iron Man 3. It was divisive, but at least it was memorable. Captain America had, the first Avenger was, it was fun. A lot of people said it was just kind of fine. I think it's one of my personal favorites, but but then Winter Soldier just blew everyone away, and that was like, because then that was the great. But this one, I feel like, is going to end up being one of the more forgettable movies. Doesn't make it bad. There are some good elements in this, and I'll talk more about them in the spoiler section. But this is not. This is just going to be, as the kids say, it's going to be very mid. So if I was going to give Captain America: Brave New World a letter grade, I would say I'll give it a C plus. Just barely over, the absolute middle of the road, for my opinion. And if we're going to weigh this in on the scale of unoriginality, I would say Brave New World weighs in at less than original, meaning you've seen it before, but it could be worse. So those are my ratings on Captain America: Brave New World, spoiler free. Now let's get into spoiler talk, as certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. So, like I said, this movie is plucking a lot of plot points from uh, Winter Soldier. Specifically, I was struck by the fact that you have once again going into the a secret military complex out in the middle of nowhere, and you blame the Foley guy or whatever, but I swear when they turn on the lights, going into this military prison or whatever where Samuel Stearns is, the lights turn on. It's the exact same light sound effect that they use, the Foley sound effect that they use when they're in Winter Soldier and they go into that military bunker when they turn the lights on to reveal that it's Zola in there. Again, that's more of a Foley thing, but that was just really distracting to me. And it's like, even down to the sound effects of the exact same plot points. So that, that was crazy for me. But also, there is a certain amount of mind control. You got the mind control element in Winter Soldier with Bucky Barnes under mind control on that front, and you have that plot beat repeated here in Brave New World with, we got the flashing lights, and then you play the song, and then you're suddenly programmed to fire the missiles on the Japanese fleet or whatever, and you got that point. But I think more specifically, that mind control element is more similar to Incredibles 2 with the Mind Slaver, because again, specifically, they got the blinking lights on the TV, then you're controlling them and controlling the superheroes. But also, the end game of that mind control in Incredibles 2 was to disrupt a treaty. Again, similar to what's going on here, disrupting the treaty, going onto the island there, but also to destroy legacies. In Incredibles 2, it was to destroy people's trust in superheroes. And in Brave New World, it was to destroy President Ross's legacy. So yeah, you got that parallel going on there, which I think was, they're both superhero properties, but I found those comparisons particularly apt in this. I'm sure there are others that people can point to, but those are just the main ones that I thought of. So specifically in this spoiler talk section, there are a couple points I wanted to harp on. Which if you have not seen Incredible Hulk or Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's a lot of character development that either is just not there or you get brief sentences to explain what's going on. Particularly with the character of Isaiah Bradley, which get one sentence in this movie that's like, oh yeah, he was the forgotten Captain America that was locked in prison for 30 years and experimented on. It's like, yeah, that was me. It's like that's all you get. And then in the prison scene when he's talking with Sam Wilson, it's like you get brief. It's like, oh, didn't want to go back in here and bust my ass. Like, no, like this is what they always wanted. It's like you get brief elements of that, but if you'd not seen Falcon and Winter Soldier in years, like I rewatched it prior to seeing this, like that whole subtext is just not in this movie, and that is a huge disservice to the character of Isaiah Bradley, I think, in my opinion. And like I said, like this is on fast forward, and you're cutting out so much stuff going into this, and also like so this is going to be a minor thing that I think was, you could say it's played off for laughs, but I think is out of character for this is so in after they're in the hospital scene, and this is the cameo, a good character moment. One of the better character moments in this movie is when you get the cameo of future Congressman Bucky Barnes getting to talk to Sam, and he's like, no, this kid, he's on his, he's really banged up, he's in a bad way, and I was not strong enough. Should have taken the super soldier serum, and Buck's like, no, you are someone. Captain America was someone for people to look up to. You are someone that they can aspire to, and there's a difference. And that it's because you didn't take the serum that you can claim to be someone like that. And then by the end, which again, that was also a huge plot point in Falcon Winter Soldier. We covered this ground, and that whole the whole arc of Sam Wilson in Falcon Winter Soldier was like, I'm Captain America now. I'm just a guy, with carrying the shield with the wings, and I'm doing the best that I can, and and that's it. That's that was the whole character arc. So then when they're fighting Red Hulk in the park or whatever, then you get the line. It's like, I should have taken the serum. Bucky's full of it, and it's like, I get that it's being played for laughs and it's the heat of the moment, but what a way to backslide on your character development to say something like that. Like, you can make any joke on that, like something like, yeah, that super soldier serum could be really useful in situations like this, or something like that. To me, the way that was phrased, that seemed like a huge backslide in character development, and that did not sit right with me. I go, maybe I'm the only one who thought that. Finally, am I the only one who thought that it would have made so much? It felt like they were building up to once they brought Red Hulk out to the park with the cherry blossoms. You have backups 5 minutes out. It's like it made so much sense if they were driving Liv Tyler, Betty Ross out to the park to talk Ross down to stop being Red Hulk. Wouldn't that made so much sense for an ending rather than having her just late cameo on the raft at the very end of the movie, which when it doesn't really matter anymore. It's like I was convinced that that Liv Tyler was going to end up being Dame not appearing in this film, because you just hear her voice, she's on the phone, and you see her picture there, and then it's like, nope, we could only get her for for voice recording, and that's it. It's like, I don't know, that there was so much build up and very little payoff on that. So, but again, that maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. But what did you think of Captain America: Brave New World? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree? Disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which I believe the schedule's changed slightly. The next movie review, which will be for Mickey 17, which comes out March 7th, I believe. So be sure to look for that. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.